going, guys? It's Defon here. Today we're going to be talking about the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign character BIOS. So basically, as you guys can see from CallOfDuty.com's blog, basically we're going to be talking about all the operators that we're going to expect to see during the campaign. I think we got an idea of including a fifth main character to the campaign, as well as knowing a little bit more about the main antagonist. So as you guys can see, if you wanted to read this for yourselves, guys, I will leave this annotated down the description. So we're going to be talking about the elite operators of Vanguard's campaign, learning more about Sergeant Arthur Kingsley, Lieutenant Polina Petrova, Private Lucas Riggs, Lieutenant First Class Wade Jackson, Sergeant Richard Webb, and SS Oberstgruppenführer Hermann Franz Freisinger. So in Call of Duty Vanguard's campaign, 5 heroes, the new one being called Richard Webb, who are all part of Task Force 1, as well as playable characters Arthur Kingsley, Polina Petrova, Lucas Riggs and Wade Jackson, form an international squad toward the end of World War II to completely wipe out the Axis threat before they can escape with a path toward resurgence. These operators also represent a third of the 12 playable characters available at launch within the game's multiplayer, which had its beta period back in September. Behind these operators is the narrative team at Sledgehammer Games, who did extensive amounts of planning, writing and research for Vanguard's campaign, and who is set to give life to all the game's multiplayer operators at launch and in the seasons to come. The work they do for Vanguard is testament to the studio's writing talent. If you want to get to know them more, check out the main blog, which delves behind the scenes. Now, I have covered the Zombies teaser that we recently got earlier on today, as well as the story trailer that we got yesterday. If you want to check those out, I'll leave those linked in the description. But for this, we're going to look into the game's campaign, and we're going to need to know about the 4 protagonists who we will play as, and the game's main antagonist, Hermann Franz Freisinger. So, Sergeant Arthur Kingsley, who is one of the main characters that we got to play as during the beta. The heart and leader of the Task Force 1, Kingsley was born in the Douala region of Cameroon before attending University of Cambridge and enlisted in the British Army. A man of nobility whose parents encouraged his multilingualism, he speaks English, German, French, Portuguese and Bantu, both the equatorial and northern dialects. Kingsley saw politics had always been discussed at the dinner table, and as a kid his mother would read him his favourite book, The Three Musketeers, every night. While Kingsley is a natural born leader, he feels falling into the traditional patterns of the British Army, over-deliberating at times when his soldiers may be faced with a life-threatening situation. However, that all represents a near unrivaled care for those who serve beside him, and Kingsley works every day to not only protect them, but also earn their respect. To his core, Arthur is a kind soul with a warm but mischievous smile. He takes things to heart and harbours deep empathy for those close to him. He loves the comfort and warmth of his home life and family and longs for peacetime to return. However, Arthur harbours a deep resentment. Despite understanding the wrongs of the world, he is unable to right them. To that point, he has a strong sense of loyalty to fight against the Nazis to help protect his home and put an end to the dangerous ideas Nazism propagates. Lieutenant Polina Petrova. So, born and raised in Stalingrad, Polina Petrova is a soldier not by choice but by need to defend her country. Stalingrad was her childhood home, one where she lived many happy memories, including hunting with her father and brother. Although she lost her mother a decade prior to the war, her reality was even more impacted by the brutal Axis invasion of Operation Barbarossa. Using the sharpshooting skills she learned from her family, Petrova's story is one of vengeance and retribution for all that she and her community lost. Polina is a woman of few words, but when she does speak, it is with purpose and often leaves a powerful impact. So basically, as you guys may know the old phrase, actions speak louder than words. This certainly applies here. She's content in her own company, only opening up to those who she trusts and respects deeply with sharp and educated wit. Although she barely shares what is on her mind, her actions speak for her opinions. Often she takes matters into her own hands and never waits for anyone else, especially when her thirst for vengeance takes over and puts her in a blind rage. Whether by words or action, Polina is driven by a desire to see her home free from Nazi invaders, and she is not afraid to put this personal pursuit above her duties. Private Lucas Riggs, who I believe is the American, I could be wrong, I think it's either Brit or American, I can't exactly remember, but he prefers actions over words, and although his personality is far from explosive, his method of dealing with threats is highly combustible. A child of sheep farmers just outside Melbourne, Australia. So he's Australian. Riggs works with his family to tend the herd and collect wool. When World War II began, he didn't hesitate to sign up for conscription and was even implemented. He was ready to see more of the world and fight a greater evil than the occasional petty mobster in his area. Riggs can be described as an enigma. He would not take an offence to this distinction, as he understands people just as much as others understand him. To his allies, Riggs is a gentle giant, often being the life of the party, but not one to seek the spotlight. To his enemies, Riggs is an intimidating and brutal warrior of honour. He stands up to wrongdoers and those who start conflicts with blunt force, ironically done via his specialty within the Australian Army: explosives. Ultimately, Riggs is the definition of passion within a soldier, valuing his fellow squad mates and country above all else. He wants to show the world what Australians are made of. Lieutenant First Class Wade Jackson, who is the American, the product of New York, pilot Wade Jackson is more at home in the sky than he is on the ground, and he is adamant on doing all his own stunts even if the mission does not call for it. Growing up in Brooklyn as a first-generation American, Jackson is a rebel who often finds himself first to a fight, especially if it's about respect for his family. Bright, yet not engaged with traditional schooling, Jackson discovered his love for speed at the age of 16 through an after-school repair club. He and his friends often took vehicles to the shop for joyrides on the newly opened Interborough Parkway, where he would only be the only daredevil able to tame the road's dangerous curves at high speed. His newfound rigour for adrenaline paid off after high school when he was accepted into the Navy's enlisted aviation cadet program and earned his pilot's wings in a dive bomber. Since then, he has become a true force in the Pacific. Charismatic and enthusiastic, Wade enjoys a challenge and registers the prospect of showing off his natural talents in the spotlight to prove he's the best. He's egotistical and considers himself special, believing he can fix every problem through bold action. As the daring hotshot of the group, Wade would rather be a lone wolf, but welcomes competent team members if they don't get in his way. And the new character that we only recently just learned about, Sergeant Richard Webb. Although he shares the same rank as his squad mate Arthur Kingsley, Sergeant Richard Webb is Kingsley's right-hand man, friend and confidant. Webb grew up in a family of academics, following in his parents' footsteps in pursuing a professorship track at the university where they worked. In doing so, he had no intention of fighting in World War II. He felt secure that his graduate work would make him exempt from service. However, the draft called for him and reluctantly joined the army. He knows his country needs him for the war, but he sees no honour in the duty. Rather, he sees soldiering as a job that must be done if there is any hope of life returning to normalcy. With no illusions of glory, nor passion to volunteer for a high-risk assignment, Webb often takes a cautious and calculated approach to every conflict, using his intelligence based in realism to come to a correct decision. Indeed, Webb believes his choice is always right, and his stubbornness derails discussions just as much as his perceived pessimism for how a situation could go wrong. Webb's defining moment is during Operation Tonga. Webb's style of leadership and that of Arthur Kingsley reaches a breaking point. What happens then, and Webb's ultimate decision to join Task Force 1 is up to you to discover in Vanguard's campaign. And the main antagonist for this is SS Oberstgruppenführer Hermann Franz Freisinger. So it's this guy in the middle right here. The main antagonist of Vanguard's campaign, Freisinger, is an ambitious and arrogant Nazi officer working at the Gestapo's Berlin headquarters. He is in chief interrogator of the SS and secret architect of the mysterious Project Phoenix. Born as an only child to a wealthy family with a long history of military service, Freisinger served as courier and information analyst during the later years of the Great War. Following that, he served in the military, police, and then the Gestapo, rising quickly through the Nazi Party through his cunning and tactical wit. Ruthless and charismatic, he makes everyone in the room feel special, but uses this charisma to manipulate people into telling him what he needs to know. He's always trying to maximise what he can gain out of an individual, be it a colleague or an enemy, analysing and remembering every tiny detail about them to get him what he needs. His goal is to live up to his family reputation within the military and continue the great lineage of his namesake. He does not see much value in winning individual battles, as he understands that to win the war you must outsmart and outmaneuver your opponents. Ultimately, he is willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to ensure that Project Phoenix is realised. So, I want to know what everyone's thoughts are of these rather interesting bios. Please do let me know in the comments box down below. Hope everyone's going to be really excited for the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign game itself. If you are, smash the thumbs up button, guys. If you're new to the channel, just smash the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell so you see more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace out.